Hey everyone, welcome to the Caves Cast podcast. My name is Ryan,
I'm Jeremy.
and today we're going to talk about Avengers and Ultimate Universe. Hickman's big startup for the new Ultimate line.
Mhm.
That'll probably take up most of this short podcast, so we can just get straight into Avengers here and what Jed McKay is setting up.
Yeah, it's funny because this kind of it just kicks off with like almost like a throwback. All of the Avengers are dressed in like their '90s garb.
Oh, I know,
Or-
I saw that. I remember seeing Thor in that, and I was like, "Why is Thor in that god awful? Remember that god awful outfit that he used to be in?"
Yeah, it's funny because like you kind of like get the hint that it's a dream really quick because you can see like you have '90s Thor and you have like the '90s Black Panther with the costume and then like colorless Vision and the Wanda like her old costume and then you see Sam Wilson, Captain America, just laying in the background on
Yeah,
page 2. And it's like, all right, immersion, we're out. But
right.
they're just fighting this like giant monster. And, you know, they're, it's cool because it's just kind of like a fun, like almost like a throwback Avengers fight. It's for most of the issue. We see Thor do some cool stuff. We see um, the Black Panther channel the Tiger God, which we haven't seen in a while, which was cool. I didn't know that he was. I mean, obviously, it's like not a real scenario, but it's cool to see it.
Right.
Last time we saw it was like I think the Ultimates by Ewing. So,
Pretty cool.
but then yeah, this Wanda begins to realize that things aren't exactly what they seem to be, you know, and then she discovers that it's Nightmare who's been kind of manipulating things, and so she wakes up and is like kind of like stumbling around and notice that all the Avengers are still asleep. And then Vision comes into the picture and he's hurt. And like he says, I'm happy to see you. You know, all of you fell asleep. And then they came. And Wanda's like, who are they? And then off panel, we get a response and it says, heroes, I have brought my heroes to you, Avengers, to do what you cannot. And it is Meridian and the Twilight Court are
Right.
back finally. I mean, we've been waiting for them to show up since Timeless
Right.
last year because that's what kind of kicked this all off.
Hmm.
Um, so it's cool to see them back. I've been waiting for them. I'm glad it wasn't like I mean, we knew they were coming based on solicitations for 8 and 9, but it's cool to see them like they're finally back again.
Right. And to finally see what the hell's going on with this Kane thing,
Yeah,
that
I
was a big setup since Timeless and the first issue.
right. So we like I said, I think last time we talked about Avengers, I can see them having these like periodic, like almost like in Pokemon when you would fight your rival every so often.
Right.
It's kind of like that. I feel like it's gonna go like this is gonna be their first bout with them. Either they win or they lose and they have to retreat and like recover. I don't know. Like we'll see what happens after the next couple issues. But
Right.
I still maintain that I think Meridian, whatever his name is, is an alternate version of Kang. Like that's just my
Wouldn't
guess.
surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the thing is too is like, they haven't really touched on it since the first issue, but we also don't know about that missing moment that
Right. Right.
it
And that's
basically.
that's kind of what they're all vying for is they just want because we know that a villain can't reach it.
Right.
So that being said, it's interesting that Meridian is having to use a group of heroes because that implies that he's not a hero, even
Right.
though he's trying to stop Kang, who we know is a villain.
Right.
But in classic Kang fashion, his biggest foil is himself. So
Yeah.
the irony in it's probably going to be a version of Kang, but a Kang that's like, I'm not Kang, I'm somebody else, so I'm not a bad guy. That's
Right.
like
And
you're
I'm basically coaching a bunch of good people so that.
yeah. Well, it would be an interesting turn of events because and you can kind of already draw this parallel between Kang and Meridian is like um when he gives them the list of people that are going to die and they save all those people Like Kang's already stepping into that role of like, I've gotta like mold these heroes to get the missing moment to
Right.
set them on the path. And like Meridian is already doing the same thing. Like
Yeah. And they're
it's
going after Kang right now. So
yeah,
it makes me wonder what the hell they want to do with Kang now.
yeah. Right.
But I mean, also, we got another identity Kang in here too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of, it's weird because like the MC, it's so funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, ever since that article dropped, from Variety, like things have been so Kang heavy the last couple of years, but like I couldn't be more excited for the stuff like for comic book Kang stuff because I love him. Like, I think he's a
right.
great character. And he deserves to be like a big bad. He deserves to be like he deserves to be that guy, you know?
Right.
And it's so disappointing to see the way like the MCU has handled him and just like how the whole situation with him and everything else is kind of rolled out.
Yeah.
Actor as a whole, like it's just like it's like it sucks because like I had a big buy-in on Kang when he first showed up before everything happened, and I was like, man, like now it's like with talks of them steering away from Kang, like I'm happy that we're at least getting a big Kang focus in the comics right now, I guess.
Right. And
So,
but you know that that's the reason why is because Kang was so
yeah,
good
and
in the movie.
right, and I hope this continues on, and I hope this is just out of like maybe Jed McKay likes Kang as a character, and Al Ewing continues to use him in other things because he's been a semi supporting role in Venom as well. You
Right.
know,
Right. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think they'd be doing themselves a big disservice if they get rid of Kang because, I think the setup for Kang was really good. And I feel like
Yeah,
they have to redeem Kang from Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ant-Man Quantumania, like
yeah, yeah.
there's I don't know. It's kind of hard to believe that Kang is a big threat when he just lost to ants.
Yeah, and that's like the big and it's like that's not even so much like where my problem lies in because like he's died in the most like ridiculous ass ways like
Right.
in the past, you know, and he always comes back, and that's kind of the thing is like yes, he's the conqueror, and like and maybe it's me trying to justify why they did it the way they did it, but like to me it wasn't a big deal knowing that like what's on the horizon is so, like such a bigger threat, I guess.
But I think it's a little more weird because they kind of set up like, okay, here's the He Who Remains, and then here's
Yeah.
this Kang and Quantumania, and it's like, how do they all line up? Does one turn into He Who Remains? Are they all different variants? Like to just kind of like
Right.
throw that away would be a little jarring,
And not even Loki has answered that question. So I wonder if they're using Loki as a way to like roundabout that and almost go like, hey, we're this guy wasn't as big a threat as we thought, but this is the real threat,
Right,
which sucks because he never really got his foot in the door in terms of like what he could be. It was just he he got by the wasp at the end and shot into the crystal.
right.
Like it sucks, but if they choose, at least if they do Doctor Doom and they do it well, then I can't complain, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, there's even a way to tie Doctor Doom to Nathaniel, but
Yeah, I mean, you could work it out some way. They could do whatever they need to do to figure out as long as it's just well written and not a pile of crap.
yeah. Well, I'll get into this now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ultimate Universe came out. Jonathan Hickman.
Yep.
Uh, Really cool. This is probably my favorite issue out of this whole Ultimate Invasion, Ultimate Universe stuff. This
Yeah,
is
man. I'm a little biased because it had Thor was like front and center on most of this issue, man.
Yeah, and it was
Oh,
so like Ultimate Thor. It
yeah,
was,
it was tight.
but basically since Ultimate Invasion happened, and basically the time city that they all got trapped in, and they're still trapped in, the Maker, Howard Stark, and everybody. Basically, outside of that, a war is broken out between who will basically be taken over as like lead of the planet. But we see Doom Reed and Iron Lad basically going and freeing Thor because in this verse, Maker manipulated to where Sif basically has Thor as a prisoner.
Yeah, because Loki's king of Asgard.
Yep, Loki is king of Asgard in this, just to kind of show you how wonky everything is. I really love the way Sif is portrayed in this. Love that she's doing her job, but she's also she also kind of can jump to the fact that this isn't the way it's supposed to be. She's pretty open-minded to it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like that. That's like a consistent character trait for Sif, as like, well, modern Sif, at least like she's always been like very like sharp
right.
in terms of like who she is, like her wit, like what like the situational awareness kind of stuff. So like it's cool to see that carry over and it just not be I'm like Loki's lapdog, even though she kind of has been like she is open to kind of the idea that this something's wrong with this world.
Right. But I think everybody kind of deep down kind of knows, like
Yeah,
they kind of know deep down, like this wasn't supposed to be our fate,
yeah.
everything like that. But I kind of love Hickman's voice here for Thor.
Hmm.
I think Hickman has a really good voice for Thor here. And he's very just kind of just take no shit, just let me just handle everything. I love that he's not a bumbling buffoon that some people can't help but ride him as.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Because he's
but
like he has like a gravitas, man, and like this and like the way he carries himself throughout, like even just the beginning fight with the guards and stuff before they dip on Asgard,
yeah,
it's just so cool. Like he's just beating ass, and he's just like wait. He's like, no, I've waited long enough. Like
yeah,
this is it's time.
yeah, I'm growing impatient here.
Yeah. So
But
it's cool.
pretty much like isn't like they're pretty much told that they got to go to Asgard, right? Or no, Loki. They pretty much are told that Loki is basically a king of Asgard, and where they go to is they go to see where Ultimate Invasion left off, where we see Cap under the ice,
Yeah. Yeah.
and really cool. This is Ultimate. It looks just like Ultimate Universe Cap. Um, and basically Thor. It's kind of funny here because Thor, basically just wants to break him out the same way he was imprisoned, and he just kind of wants to break him out. Tony warns him, "Can't do that. You'll kill him." So they basically got to do it the slow old fashioned way.
What I like the most about this part is Hickman's just so good, man.
Yeah,
Like it's just like the little dialogue stuff too. Like when he said like when he's giving his speech to Cap in the Ice when he says I'll right these wrongs I would liberate anybody that was in chains. Like it's cool to see like even though they've never met in this universe, they have that like connection, that like bond of like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Like
It's
we
because
shouldn't we shouldn't be stuck. We shouldn't be stuck in.
yeah, and like he knows that he's speaking to like he's like is his brother of in his soul he knows that like they're like cut from the same cloth, which
Exactly.
is cool because that's how him and Cap are in like main continuity. So it's cool to
Yeah.
see that carry over too.
Yeah. I'm kind of loving this whole where you're kind of feeling that they all kind of feel that this is kind of fate. And no matter
Yeah.
what way the universe would go, like they would all eventually, because of fate, just be drawn to each other. Um basically basically he's told that the maker basically manipulated everything here, and Thor of course vows to basically change everything.
Yep.
um Lots of heavy dialogue here, but it's more just kind of set up because I don't think there's going to be another Ultimate Universe issue after this.
No, it looks like it's just a one shot, but I could also see him going like doing one shots periodically throughout.
Right.
Like every season, like every quarter of the year, whatever. Like I could see him coming back around to doing something like this.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I would at least like I would hope that's the case because this is too broad of like a universe, I think, to
Absolutely.
and we're just getting started. So who am I to say? Like maybe Ultimate Spider-Man or Ultimate X-Men is gonna talk more about those broader topics or like the politics of this world or how like things operate or how things are going to operate when this new group of Illuminati starts to like
Right.
actually get a grip on things.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy because they kind of admit that they're going to go towards basically nuking United States right now.
Yeah.
So North America, I mean.
Yeah.
We see everybody kind of just just VoIP over to Latveria, and they're seeing a bunch of life in these holds that could hold about 100, and boom, out of nowhere we see Captain Britain just kind of sneak attack and hit Thor through the chest. Of course, there's a big fight here with Iron Lad, Sif, Thor, and Captain Britain, which is a little weird of a power jump for Captain Britain to be able to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I would just probably attribute it to the fact that he is kind of a magic based character.
Right, and it's probably a
You know,
magic-based weapon.
yeah, and it could be Excalibur. They don't really ever say that it
Right.
isn't. And he's wielded the sword before, so like I'm willing to accept the fact that and he didn't kill Thor. He just injured
No.
him.
Yeah.
But also, like what I thought was most interesting about their time in Latveria, is he said that there's how many of these
Well, they said that
pods?
each hold can hold like 100
Yeah,
pod.
and there's like a bunch of them,
Yes.
and they're all like relics of a stolen life. So it's like all of the things that the maker was going around taking or events that he was changing, like the spider for
Right.
Spider-Man is in there,
Right.
and is in one of these, and it's I guess I didn't realize how much work the maker had been doing, man.
Right.
Like, because they don't talk. I mean, obviously they don't go that in depth. They just show him like get rid of the spider, wipe out the Fantastic Four, make sure Cap doesn't get pulled from the ice, make sure Thor doesn't become the God of Thunder. Like he does all these things that we see on screen, on panel, but like we don't really see like what kind of work he's been doing until like right now. Like he's
Right.
stopped hundreds upon hundreds of potential heroes from existing, so this world could come to fruition.
Right.
And I'm interested to see why he chose the people he did. I mean, some of them we know because they are just good to a fault, like they're always going to do the right thing. But like Hulk, if this Hulk is
Right.
so peaceful, like what there's obviously a reason why he kept the Hulk around. There's
Right.
obviously a reason why he kept Captain Britain around. Like and these are all people that we thought were good, like in the main universe.
Right. But I think it's more like with Hulk, for example, like while he's a pacifist, he's very much a manipulator behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an interesting take because it's always been like the man or the monster has been manipulating the other one, not necessarily manipulating those around them.
Right.
So,
Which is really cool. I'm loving this whole thing, and I'm loving the way that, Sif kind of handles this whole thing with Thor getting hit.
mhm,
He immediately just kind of drops and says, he is my prisoner. I cannot have him die. We're seeing more of the Illuminati here, basically figuring out what they're going to do now that the Maker is trapped inside the city.
yeah,
Uh, and basically, they say that the boy gave them North America, which is pretty scary to think. As we remember in Ultimate Invasion, they have this whole thing set up where each country in a generation basically plays the bad guy. They all go against them.
yeah. I didn't even
Then
think about that either.
100 years later, is it that they basically stop and then they play like an apologetic whole
Yeah,
thing, and then somebody else is now the enemy, and it kind of just switches and moves on and on to keep.
yeah. It just is like clockwork, man. Just
Mhm.
each area gets their round of being the villain and being the good guy.
Right. And now they're going after North America. They shoot like a space laser. Um, Pretty insane.
What
And
and this is very like Game of Thrones. Like this is where I feel like it gets very Game of Thrones and like the political aspect of it, because like when the satellite that blasts New York, is it New York City, right? That it hits
yeah,
is a
yeah,
Stark tech. It's a Stark Industries
yeah,
satellite weapon. So most people know that Howard's dead. They don't know that he's Iron Man, but they know that he's dead, and they know that Tony is kind of like grieving or what have you. At least the world does. So like when they see that like Tony is the reason that New York got blasted, it's interesting because I wonder if this is the Illuminati kind of taking advantage in a way that the maker wouldn't want them to, saying
yeah,
like, hey, like yes, each person gets their round as the bad guy, but now we're having like basically this time around the bad guy's striking his homeland.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's weird. I don't know. It's cool because it's very manipulative on this like council's be like for them to do this and kind of play their cards in a way that the maker's probably not okay with because
Right.
it disrupts things. It disrupts the flow of his like of what he's been doing.
Right. It's pretty much they're pretty much doing whatever they want now that the maker's not there to kind of lead
Yeah.
them in charge. And we kind of saw them wonder before they jumped on this opportunity, how long will the maker be gone? How long will it be until he comes back? What can they do? How long should
Right.
they wait?
Right.
And we see now that they're clearly done waiting.
Yeah,
So
and it hasn't been very long, you know?
no,
Like
no,
it's probably been a couple months, I would think,
right,
between the events of Invasion 4 and then this.
right. And the epilogue was pretty interesting here.
Yes.
This epilogue was pretty interesting because we see, a week later after the space laser hit, and we're seeing all these names kind of in a news broadcast, and they're basically of people who have basically died in the blast, right? And
Yeah, what's interesting is they don't even say they don't say died either. They say thousands remain missing.
okay, yeah,
So
so they're
I wonder if these some of these names are dead or missing and they don't specify, you know, it's just a bottom. Oh,
right.
below those potential victims' names because they don't really know who or what has happened to all these people. I don't even think there are bodies, right?
No,
So we don't even know what's gone on. Like other than that there was like a laser that hit New York, you
right.
know.
But among those names, we see Emily Osborne and Norman
Yep.
Osborne.
Yep.
So that's pretty interesting here. We don't know where Norman Osborne is. And I feel like this is like the only little. I'm actually a little surprised how much they held back here. This is like just the closest thing to a setup for the new Spider-Man thing. They didn't even
Well, and
set up
here's the other
Spider-Man.
thing too is on the very last page, the last one of the last names that scrolls across is May Parker.
Oh, you're right. You're right. And that's
Is this Peter Parker's Ben moment?
oh,
You know what I mean? Like because he's not Spider-Man and he's older and it's there's a good chance that Uncle Ben is still dead,
right.
but he died of natural causes, you know?
Yeah, long ago that
Or vice versa, and Ben is still alive, and May's the one that dies in this universe.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I I don't know, man. It's cool. It's and it would tie into the idea that this universe is like it is wrong because one May is dead, but also May doesn't die in the same way that Ben would have. You know, like she dies due to this larger, you know, reason, not necessarily something that Peter did or something that Peter had an influence on, but she still ends up dead. So it's still connected to Peter in some way, and that the spider came from the maker. All of these events happen due to the maker. So he still has that like motivation, you know.
Right. And we see like Iron Lad and basically like Doom Reed, they're going around to try to fix fix the
Yeah,
universe to what it should be.
yeah.
So basically it makes sense now because I was wondering, basically the way Hickman set up this whole Spider-Man reveal was I thought he took the spider so that he was going to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, I
But it
did too. I
turns
thought
out
it
he
was gonna
just
be
put it
Miles.
away, and it looks like Doom Reed and Iron Lad are going to get that out and now give it to Peter. And now the great responsibility thing is probably going to happen just from that little name being
Yeah,
there.
right.
It's Jonathan Hickman, man. That's what he does. He just leaves these little things for and if you miss it, that's your fault. you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like and that's why like I feel like between him and Ewing and like so many like a lot of other writers right now that are like really trying to just pull stuff out of the woodworks
Yeah.
and kind of just like and I guess write comics in a way that is like a bit like more thought out, has more like smaller connections throughout. I appreciate it because I like that kind of stuff. I like to follow along with those little like details.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
I
cool.
love being challenged. Jonathan
Yeah.
Hickman will challenge you a little bit because he's such a different storyteller. and the way he
Yeah,
kind
like,
of
and
gives the audience.
there are some points in the story where you need a lot of critical thinking,
Yeah,
like just like to put some things together. But it's cool. Like you said, it's cool to be challenged while reading a comic book because most comics are an easy 3 to 5 minute read, and it's like, okay, that was just like a beat 'em up. I got like a cool action scene.
because see, I didn't even really notice the little May Parker thing. I didn't really notice that. I only noticed the Norman Osborn and the Emily Osborn thing. So because I
And
just
then on
kind
top
of
of that,
thought,
they
like,
even kind of tease Black Panther.
yeah, yeah,
So who knows what's going on with that, or
yeah,
who even is the Black Panther, and what is the Black Panther in this universe?
right. Well, I mean, it's going to be a completely different one since it's going to be Raw and
Yeah,
Khonshu, and
yeah,
it's going to be written as like a Dune type book. So I'm really stoked on that. I think that'll be fun.
yeah,
Basically Wakanda Dune.
yeah.
Instead of a lush rainforest, we're going to get like a
It's saying like a almost like an Egyptian. It it could be cool. I don't know. I wonder if it's gonna be in Wakanda or if it'll be somewhere else.
right.
Because
Yeah,
I mean, well, obviously it won't be Wakanda because it looks like he's in the upper and lower kingdoms, is what the area of is like that part of the world is called.
right.
So I want if he's gonna be born royalty, we don't even know. If he's gonna be like just a slave or like a peasant,
Right.
like I have no
Is he
idea,
good or is he bad? Because we know he's
Right.
working for Ra and Khonshu, who are part of the Illuminati in this universe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
So
and we don't know if this is going to be a T'Challa that's basically acting out for their,
right, or if it's
wants and
even
needs,
T'Challa,
or if he's
you know?
basically playing a role to basically try to take them out from under.
Yeah. I
You know,
wonder. I mean, that being said, I wonder if he is one of the heroes that the Maker somehow had a hand in. How does he get his powers in this universe?
right,
You know, I don't know.
right, yeah. I mean, there's so much here that Hickman. I don't even think is going to be setting up anymore. I don't think we're going to be getting another Ultimate Universe. We're just going to have to pay attention to Momoko's X-Men, Hickman's
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
And speaking of that, there was the 2 page preview. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, with armor.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. I mean, I don't really know what's going on here. It's just a quick, no
Yeah.
dialogue, but
It seems like it's gonna be very like classic Peach Momoko, I guess, like
yeah,
has like the horror-ish aspect because she really loves to draw that like Junji Ito, like kind of like gross horror stuff.
right. And
But it
and
also,
we see a bunch of Japanese in the background, so I guess armor really is in Japan in this. So we're gonna
yeah,
see.
because like even in like and then like the second page, like I wonder who this character, like I don't know. I have no idea what the hell this book is gonna be.
No,
She
no,
Momoko did say that Armor's gonna be a main character, I guess. So I mean, she's on the cover of the first issue. She's in
right,
the preview, so I would assume that she's gonna be a main character. It'll be cool to see Momoko's take on like the broader X-Men universe
right.
and let her kind of do whatever she wants because she got to do a little bit of that in the Demon Days and Demon Wars stuff, but it was still like not she didn't really get to play in like a bigger Marvel universe.
Right.
Just she picked the characters and she told a story with them and then that was it. Like it wasn't like because obviously these characters are going to show up elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see like the contrast between when they show up in the Peach Momoko X-Men book and if they show up in other titles or in like a crossover and it's not in X-Men and not drawn by her.
Right.
It'll be cool. It'll also be kind of an adjustment. It's such a like a departure from the other art styles
I
that
think that's the point. And I think
yeah,
also it's just kind of like Hickman was like, I said everything I need to say about X-Men. Like,
yeah,
my hands are clean. Peach, go ahead, tell whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do.
right. And it's also going to be one of those things where I hope it's like his time at X-Men in a way that he lets a creator like Peach Momoko grow,
Right.
like but doesn't necessarily let end up the way that things ended up while he was in the X office because that went from he was helping develop new creators into only the newer creators were on the books and that was it.
Right.
and he was done after Inferno. And I don't know, like I said, like there's always the hearsay or the talk of they were pushing him out and he was just being nice about it and said, "Oh, I wanted to pursue other things and I had these other things I wanted to write." But the dude literally said that he wrote two Bibles for Marvel, Gods and House and Powers of X.
Right.
So I find it hard to believe that he was willing to be like, "Hey, let me write what I think is the definitive version of these characters and let somebody else take control of that."
Right.
I find, and knowing the kind of writer that he is, I find that very hard to believe that he was like so open to that idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, regardless, his time spent at the X office was good. It gave him some, maybe a little of like more universe like construction, and allowed him to like kind of build a more solid foundation for what he could make the Ultimate Universe into, and just and now he's got all these projects going. Like he's got Gods, the Ultimate stuff. Who knows what else he's got going on? Like he's doing indie stuff too. Still, I think he's doing all his Substack stuff. So he's like got a full plate, man.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I think it's really cool, and I think it's also really cool that everybody's in their own place.
Yeah,
Like, I imagine Black Panther is going to be in Africa. We got, Spider-Man in the West, and then we got Momoko's, X-Men in the East. So it's kind of like basically while they're all on the same world, they're all very much very split apart to be able to build on this world from different points.
Who would your guesses be on like who would be on the X-Men team?
Oh man, I have no idea. Because I
Because
didn't even really know about armor. I
right,
don't.
my guess would probably be it'll be Armor. Obviously, it will probably see Wolverine,
Yeah,
because if it is set in Japan, he has a history there.
that's true.
Um, Sunfire, I think is his name.
Hmm.
The guy that wears like the half mask. That guy, I could see him being on the team. Maybe Silver Samurai if he were to go like not bad, but he's not a mutant, so that's silly.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know what it like. Who knows, man? And maybe it's just Xavier could be going around to different countries or different areas of this world and saying, "Hey,
Right.
come
If, for
cool."
all we know, basically Xavier goes to Japan and basically is like armor.
Yeah, like scoops her up and says, "Hey, like I'm gonna recruit you," or like I who knows? Who knows? I have no idea.
Right.
But
I'm
we'll see.
excited, man. I'm more excited about this than I was with Ultimate Invasion now that I kind of have a scope of what's to
Yeah,
come. Because
yeah.
when Ultimate Invasion came out, I was kind of overwhelmed. I was like, what are we getting? Are we getting like 10 new titles? We getting But now that I know it's just kind of like 3 for right now.
And the rumor for a long time was there were going to be 4 titles, I thought.
Right.
And
It wouldn't surprise me if they announce another one, maybe,
in like 6 months or whatever.
yeah, probably like an event. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like an event that happens to the Ultimate
That's what I like, and that's what I mean by them maybe doing like periodic like one shots where it's like he touches back. It could be Ultimate Universe #2.
Yeah.
And it's just 6 months from now, it's like now that we've kind of got events rolling out and things are happening, here's what's happening in the bigger universe with Tony and Doom and Kang and Maker, and like it's kind of like constantly propelling the bigger story forward. So it's not just these 3 stories, that's it.
Right. Right.
But I don't know. Like again, it's kind of anybody's guess. And who's to say that Spider-Man maybe doesn't turn into that flagship title and they kind of carry that in Spider-Man? I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea what to expect, but that kind of makes me excited.
Yeah.
Considering main universe is getting pretty predictable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hickman can do no wrong in my opinion. So very excited.
He's got
and
it down.
and Gods comes out this week, so we're eating, man.
Yes. 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 Gods is out. Thanos comes out this week too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's gonna
he's
be the
fighting the
big,
Illuminati in that.
yeah. So and they're not even the same Illuminati that Hickman used. So who the hell knows what's happening, man?
Yeah, but we're running out of time. So
Yep.
thank you guys for watching. If you
Yes,
guys
thanks
can,
everybody.
please give a like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys next week. Stay
Later,
safe.
everybody.
Later.